Think about the money in your pocket right now. Those numbers sitting in your wallet, your bank account, or an app on your phone. Do you really think they belong to you? Let me tell you something strange. Throughout history, the smartest form of theft humanity ever invented wasn't robbery at gunpoint. It wasn't forced taxation either. The smartest theft was carried out through a mechanism that worked quietly, in plain sight, for centuries, without anyone noticing. And this mechanism has a name: Gresham's Law. Bad money drives out good. Sounds like a simple economic sentence, doesn't it? But this law didn't just operate in ancient Rome. It didn't just operate in the Middle Ages. Right now, as you're watching this video, it's operating in your salary, in your savings, even in the content you're scrolling through on your phone. And chances are, you don't even know you're part of it. Come, let's start from the beginning. Because before you can understand this story, you need to see how an empire rotted from the inside. It's the 2nd century AD. The Roman Empire is at the peak of its history. The armies are strong, the roads are safe, trade is booming. And at the heart of this empire is a coin, the denarius. Minted from nearly pure silver, this coin was a symbol of trust for centuries. But then something happened. Emperors spent money on wars, spent money on palaces, spent money to keep the people happy. As the treasury emptied, they found new solutions. They kept minting coins, but secretly reduced the silver content inside them. Same coin, same image, same inscription, but the inside was now filled with copper. This is exactly where Gresham's Law steps onto the stage. When people began to notice this change, what did they do? They kept the old, pure silver coins in their pockets, hid them under their pillows, even melted them down and hoarded them. But they rushed to spend the new debased coins as quickly as possible. Because everyone knew, you should hold on to good money and hand off bad money to someone else as fast as you can. The result? The money circulating in the market became progressively worthless. Prices skyrocketed. By the mid-3rd century AD, the silver content of the denarius had dropped from around 90% to below 5%. An empire began to collapse not by the sword, but by hollowing out the inside of its own coin. But wait, this is only the beginning. Because 1,000 years later, the same story would take the stage again in England, this time with a completely different hero. It's 16th century England. King Henry VIII, just like the Roman emperors, reduces the precious metal content in coins to fill his treasury. In the years to come, people would call this the Great Debasement. People do the exact same thing again. They hoard the good coins and spend the bad ones. Years later, when Queen Elizabeth I ascends the throne and tries to fix this chaos, she seeks help from a merchant and financier named Sir Thomas Gresham. Gresham describes this phenomenon so clearly that centuries later, economists would name this rule after him. Bad money drives out good. But here's the most striking part. This rule didn't stay limited to coins. Because as humanity progressed, what we call money changed too. And the law kept coming back, each time with a new strategy. So what happened when we moved into the era of paper money? This is where things get truly crazy. It's 1923, Germany, the Weimar Republic. Crushed under the heavy war reparations debt of World War I, the government finds a single solution to pay off its debt: keep printing money. The result is one of the most terrifying hyperinflation examples in history. The price of a loaf of bread you buy in the morning doubles by evening. The moment people get paid, they rush to the market to shop, because a few hours later, that money will be worthless. Children on the street use stacks of worthless banknotes as toy blocks. A wheelbarrow full of money isn't even enough to buy a loaf of bread. The same silent rule is at work here too. People hoard everything that holds real value: gold, foreign currency, goods, while instantly spending the depreciating paper money in their hands. Bad money drives out good once again, but this time on a completely different scale. An entire nation's savings evaporate within months. Now here's the question I want to ask you. Do you think this is just a nightmare left behind in the past, something we only read about in history books? Or is it an early warning signal of a system you're living inside right now? Because this is exactly where the story gets much closer to you. The stories I just told you might seem distant, exotic, something that only happens in underdeveloped countries. But think about it. What did the world's biggest central banks do after the 2008 global financial crisis? They printed trillions of dollars, euros, yen. They called it monetary expansion, Sounds very technical and safe, doesn't it? When the pandemic hit in 2020, this process accelerated many times over. The U.S. Federal Reserve alone created, within a few months, an amount of new money equivalent to a large portion of all the money printed in the previous century. So where did this money come from? From gold? From some newly discovered treasure? No, it came from adding a few zeros to a screen. And just like in Rome, just like in Weimar, the same behavior repeats in this system too. People who have money, assets, and knowledge shift their wealth into real estate, stocks, gold, valuable assets. But the ordinary worker's salary is still paid in that bad, constantly depreciating paper or digital currency. What we call inflation is actually the name of this silent transfer. The purchasing power of the money you earn through your labor slowly flows elsewhere, without you even noticing. Now think about this. The phone in your hand right now, the house you live in, the price tags you saw the last time you went to the market. All of them carry the traces of this invisible law. But the most striking part isn't even this. A phenomenon that emerged in the last decade claims to completely reverse Gresham's law: Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Their advocates say, its supply is limited, no government can print and multiply it. So this will become good money and will eventually drive out bad fiat currencies. But reality right now might actually be showing the exact opposite. Because people still make their daily spending in depreciating national currencies, while hoarding their sound assets, Bitcoin, gold, dollar-pegged assets, avoiding spending them. So the question is Gresham's law working exactly as predicted right now, or is the digital age breaking this law? This is exactly what we're going to figure out in this video. But before that, I need to show you how this law has seeped into far more than just money, into every area of your life. Actually, money was just the beginning. Because economists realized that the logic of Gresham's law isn't limited to coins at all. It's a rule where the fake pushes the real out of the system. And you can see it everywhere. When you're scrolling through social media, what catches your attention? Usually, is it a deep, carefully crafted documentary that took hours of labor to produce, or a screaming headline that hooks you in 3 seconds? In the attention economy too, bad content often drives out good content. Because the system rewards not quality, but speed and shock. The same thing happens in the business world. Cheap, low-quality products that are aggressively marketed sometimes wipe genuinely high-quality, but quietly sold products off the shelves. Even in the labor market, sometimes it's not real talent, but the person who sells themselves the loudest who rises to the top. So the sentence Gresham said about coins 500 years ago actually describes a universal weakness of human systems. If the fake and the real look the same in a system, and telling them apart is hard, the fake always wins, until someone learns to tell the difference. So how do you protect yourself if you're in this situation? Now you're left with this question. Against this mechanism that toppled Rome, destroyed Weimar, and is silently eroding your salary today, what can you do? History has left us a 3,000-year-old clue. How did people notice this law each time? How did they react? Who got rich? Who lost everything? We'll cover the real story of silver in Rome's collapse, how Newton intervened in coinage with a scientist's rigor, how trillion-dollar banknotes in Zimbabwe became worth less than toilet paper, and finally, how the modern monetary system, which affects every penny in your pocket today, steers you without you ever noticing. Because this isn't an economics lesson. This is the story of history's quietest, longest-running theft. And now is exactly the time to learn where you stand in this story. Are you ready? See you in our new video.